here in the absence of the chair, so we are okay to proceed.
Okay, first of all, I ask everyone to please put your phone on mute. All right, welcome everyone. We're here this afternoon for the Community Development Advisory Board, 4:15 by that clock, 12 September 2022. We're called to order, roll call. Oh, okay.
Barbara's getting gas, getting oil change in it.
You're just in time for roll call.
Yeah,
Yay.
we'll let you get situated. How you doing? Good. First, number one is a call to order, roll call, Ralph Taylor, Vice President.
Brian Keeley.
Sister Paula Rose. Mary Mack.
Tony Majors.
Okay, we're moving right along. Just slow me down if I'm going too fast.
You're doing fine.
Okay. Item number two, introduction to new board member, and I'll turn it over to Julie at this time.
Okay, well, we want to welcome Mary Mack to the Community Development Advisory Board. She is our new board member. Bobby Snyder has chosen to retire, so we did get a certificate of recognition to Bobby. Here last week, I delivered it to her home. She opted to have it delivered to her home and thanked her for her 6 years of service on the Community Development Advisory Board. In lieu of her retiring, we were able to have the wonderful addition of Mary Mack, and I believe that she's going to be a great asset. She is chair of United Way here, and so she is very well versed with the city and public service agencies, and so we're just very excited, and thank you for volunteering to be a board member.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome aboard, Mary.
Thank you.
I know, Michelle said I feel like we should clap.
Okay. Item number three, we'll vote to approve or disapprove 3/14/22 meeting and the minutes. And what I need is a motion and then a second motion to vote by roll call. Do I have a motion?
Yeah. I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second.
Okay. We had had a motion and a second to move to vote for roll call by significant yea or nay or whatever. I, Ralph Taylor, yes.
Sister Paula Rose, yes.
I, Brian Keeley. I, Tony Majors.
I, Mary Mack, I'll abstain.
Okay, to vote, we approve the the minutes for 3/14/22 with all ayes. Moving right along, public hearing, 2021 to 2022, CAPR. The open public hearing. To open the public hearing, I need a motion and a second motion.
I move to open the public hearing.
I second it.
Okay, public hearing is now open. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, at this time, we'll move it.
I did see in the hallway it was blank when I went out there.
Me
Blank.
too.
Yeah, I didn't even see you coming in, Sister Colorado. And nobody has come to sign in, so for our public hearing, it appears as though we don't have a citizen wanting to give a
Okay.
comment.
Need a motion and a second motion to close for public hearing.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, moving right along. 5, the discussion of 2021-2022 CAPR. This time I'll turn it over to Julie.
Okay. I just had a few things that I wanted to point out about the caper this year that stuck out to me and just felt would be a little bit valuable to share. As you can see, some of you more seasoned members on the board, you have seen plenty of capers in the past. This particular caper is a little bit more detailed, has quite a bit more information. The reason for that being is that all of the CV funds, or COVID funds, if you will, had to be reported this year. On top of the fact that wrapping up the 21-22 grant program year was the last year of the consolidated plan from 2017 to 2021. So there was just a little bit more detailed information going along with this. I tried to be as detailed as I could so that HUD didn't come back and ask for more information. Something to point out is that the public comment period is was open from starting September 8th through September 23rd. So even though today is the public hearing, it doesn't eliminate anybody from the community being able to call or come to community development and be able to offer up any comments or anything like that. So that was the first thing that I wanted to point out, because I think that my predecessor usually had the public hearing on that very last day. And so I didn't want you to think that there was something wrong there or a little unusual, just a different way of going about it. Moving along under Cr5 Goals and Outcomes on page 3, I did want to point out regarding the ESG funds, there is commentary in there advising that Catholic Charities still had $5,768.80 left to spend on the 21 year, on the 2021 grant year. And I just wanted to advise that they have successfully expended that and requested their last of their funds. So there's no issues there. But again, this is up to June 30th, 2022. But I just wanted to advise that that's been expended now, so that is all good. In the charting on table 1 on page 4, you will see the very first goal on home buyer assistance. The percentage complete isn't exactly where we want it to be.
Hey, Julie, could I interrupt you for a minute?
You bet.
Going back to the ESG, as far as the funding, I was approached today and they was wondering, they asked me the question for is, are we planning on to extending the homeless shelter by building on to it, or keeping it as is, or putting it somewhere else? Because their concern was we got, as we all know, you don't have to ride too far up and down Leavenworth, that you see a lot of homeless out there. And one of my questions was, my answers was to one of them was I still volunteered to homeless shelter there, but a lot of people don't want to go in the shelter, rather rain, sleet, or snow, they rather just stay out there. So, but I just want to ask that question because, they were saying, hey, we got all these homeless people.
And when you're referring to the shelter, are you talking about Leavenworth Interfaith Community of Hope?
Oh, no, yes.
Okay.
On Cairo, right there on Cairo.
Okay,
Yes.
so Catholic Charities of Northeast Kansas is the only one that are recipients of ESG funds.
Okay.
So Catholic Charities of Northeast Kansas are the ones that receive ESG funds through application process submitted through the city. So they apply through us, and then we submit our application to Kansas Housing Resource Corporation. So the ESG funds that are being spoke about are funds that are utilized through Catholic Charities for homeless prevention, rapid rehousing, and HMIS and administration. So as far as building on to Leavenworth Interfaith Community of Hope, that if they're going to be expanding or doing anything like that, that is definitely something we can address and talk to Miranda Agnew about.
Okay.
The city doesn't own that building.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, the city doesn't own that building. However, Leavenworth Interfaith Community of Hope does receive CDBG funds from us.
Right, I understand, that's right.
Yeah, and
The other comment, having worked there myself, is that we have put people in housing, and they said, I'm leaving here, I'm going back to the street. Low-income housing was available, and they abandoned it just to get back on the street, because that's where I want to be, and that's where my friends are, and I don't want to live under this roof. And it's like, isn't that sad, because you're warm and dry and whatever, but and so many of them with drug and alcohol problems, you know, if they are, they're not admitted to the shelter if they're inebriated or have a problem. So there's another issue that, I think they have plenty of room. It's just the clientele.
Understand, yeah.
Yeah, perhaps. It'd definitely be, I think the basis of your question is something that we could ask Miranda Agnew about. I personally haven't had a conversation with her about extending that building or making it larger or what have you. I think you'll find also, I learned an awful lot about our public service agencies working together within the homelessness section in the back of this caper when I was consulting with public service agencies about what all it is that your service does to, your agency does to help assist homelessness here in town. And I thought I knew everything they did, and I realized that I didn't. And I was kind of having a moment every time I received an email or a phone call back in response. That's an amazing group of people that we have in this city trying to do everything that they can. So, Ralph, I will ask Miranda Agnew myself
Okay,
You know,
and get back with you.
Well, excuse me, one time, we had about 2 years maybe, I don't know if it's that long, when they asked for our funds, one of the things they asked for was money to build a covered patio so that people who were out smoking or whatever, they would have shelter outdoors. And that was not part of what our money was going to be used for. So it was not, but I know that that was one of the things that they had asked for funds for that. But
All of the CDBG funds have to be utilized they have to meet a national objective, and they have to benefit low to moderate income persons. So finding an activity or a national objective to accommodate to those things would have some research to do. And I am going to tell you, I am humble right now. I am not that well versed to all of those national objectives and what the possibilities there are. But I will definitely ask Miranda, and that'll stir up some conversation, and we could perhaps go from there. As you know, you guys have already voted on the funds for this 22-23 year. So if there's some opportunity or possibility there, then Miranda and I can discuss that, and I can do some homework and find out if there's any availabilities for that.
okay. Fair enough.
All right. So on table one, with table one on page 4, the very first goal of home buyer assistance is something that we didn't meet our strategic goals and actual program year goals. And that is in regards to the home buyer program, of course. As you know, the market is extremely strained right now, especially those with low to moderate income. It's tough, but the program is still there and it's alive. And I do have for this program year, I will have a second closing occurring this Friday.
Okay.
So it certainly gets we certainly advertise it. Our public information officer does a really good job about helping advertise it in every way possible as well. I've made a lot of cold calls to realtors and lenders, just trying to build those relationships and remind them that we have this program to help to get that going. So I felt you should have an answer as to why that number wasn't meeting a goal. On page 11, this is under resources and investments. On page 11, the second to last paragraph advises something that I thought you all would find to be beneficial to know. When Mary Dwyer held the community development coordinator position, she had asked the Community Development Advisory Board for their thoughts about taking money from the local housing trust fund. Now, these are not CDBG funds or ESG funds, and help offer them to Catholic charities to assist during COVID. And that was being used for rental assistance for folks here in Leavenworth City. And I just thought that you would appreciate seeing that the $35,000 assisted 50 households and 155 individuals. So as I was doing the review of this caper and having to report on all of the COVID funds and all of the leveraging that happened, that was something that stuck out that I thought that you all would want to make sure that you saw voting, when you all voted yes to that, how much of a great good that did.
Yep, great.
Pardon me to interrupt. On page 12 with the table number 5, it talks about just an inconsistency that's documented. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but is that similar to what you were showing in table 1 where you were saying that the expected,
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
yeah,
And this was something more on here that I knew HUD would need more of an explanation to. But yes, absolutely, to explain that, they're on table 5. The 1-year goal says 68 for number of homeless households to be provided affordable housing units.
seems very ambitious.
Right. We don't have activities set up with the CDBG funds that specifically meet that. When I looked back and I explained that within that paragraph there.
Yeah, the one.
So what happened was, when I was looking back over the 2017, 2020 capers, as well as the annual action plans and that consolidated plan, when I was looking at the plan versus the end result of the caper, I just saw inconsistencies going there. It led me to the belief of thinking that that was a typo. But I have to explain that to HUD as to why that was in there.
Okay,
And, right, because the truth is the truth, right? I mean, it is what it is, and that was the conclusion that I came to.
yeah, reasonable.
Yeah, and in regards to, in table 5, regards to the 1-year goal versus the actual, the number of non-homeless households to be provided affordable housing units, that is their homeowners, or excuse me, our first-time home buyers program. Thank you. I was thinking of the acronym HOP. So that, and then with the table below with 6, now that's over the whole, at the top, I'm sorry, that's over the entirety of the 5-year plan. With the table number 6, the number of households supported through rehab, that is our home rehab. When people need perhaps a roof, or heat and air goes out, or maybe perhaps some plumbing, that is the home repair program that we have. So the 1-year goal was 10 and we accomplished 14. And just below that, number of households supported through acquisition of existing units, that was the home buyers program, home ownership program that we have. For this last year, the goal was 6 and we obtained 4. Does that answer everything for you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to explain, why was it saying 0 there?
yes, yeah.
Right,
Just for clarification, this is 5 years, this is 1 year,
yes.
5 months.
Hey, Julie, due to the, it's on the same lines as this, due to the, someone wanting to, a loan, low-income loan for a roof or a ramp or something like that, is it pretty hard trying to find bidders now, or
Is it hard to find what?
is it hard to find people to bid on, like a ramp or a roofing? Yeah, contractors, yeah, is it pretty,
Yes, general contractors themselves are difficult. I do have a contractors period. Right now, general contractors are the most difficult for this program to find. I do have flyer upstairs in community development. Our public information officer has posted it up on Channel 2, advising that we do need contractors. her name's Melissa Bowers, our public information officer. I'll be visiting with her in the latter part of this year, also wanting to advertise that we need more contractors. In a perfect world, we'd have 3 bids, right, for every job that we have. And again, with the cold calls, when I first started this position, I started making a lot of cold calls. Wanted to stay local more than anything was the most important thing of trying to get those. So I had a lot of roofs that were needing to be done with the home repair program. So I began just making cold calls and trying to stir up more contractors. I did end up recruiting one out of Bonner Springs. We have not used them yet. And general contractors are still just continuing to be very difficult here's the thing. Somebody can apply for a home repair program and they can get up to $10,000, right, the applicant for their repairs. Some of the general contractors out there still look at that, even if they're not spending that much. So like if they needed a ramp and it was gonna be about $3,000, so a lot of the general contractors are looking at that as an awfully small job compared to building homes and
Right,
what have
understand,
you,
yeah.
right? And here's the thing is that all of our contractors, they have to be able to have a DUNS or UEI number out of SAMS.gov. They have to have a certificate of liability showing their liability coverage. They do get an affirmative action letter from our city manager. So sometimes the certificate of liability coverage is a little bit higher than what some people who perhaps maybe they're running their business out of their home and they just don't have that level. It might not mean that they're not a great contractor. So the requirements that people have to have in order to be paid with federal funds is a little bit more, and they're just not requirements that are going to be able to be lowered. So it does continue to be a challenge.
Understand.
Knock on wood, I don't have anybody waiting to have any repair because we didn't find somebody to do the job.
Now,
And I hope that never happens.
who sets those requirements?
HUD does. Yeah, we have to abide by that with the federal rules of contractors.
That's good, yeah.
And just so you know, I would like to go back and correct myself on table 5. The numbers up above, that is for the 1 year with the, in total of the home buyers and home repair, the 16 and the 18. So if you added up and I apologize, I was thinking of another chart without actually reading. So if you add up the 10 and the 6 for the purchased homes with the home buyers plus with the rehab, that's 16. Do you see what I'm saying here? And then as well as what the actual was versus the goal. So that's where the 16 and 18 come from. I apologize for that. Page 25, regarding citizen participation, I did put a comment in there on that last paragraph that there were no public comments have been received. Of course, I will change that if I hear from anybody, as I'm leaving that open through September 23rd. And then on the next page, speaking of the contractors, the second paragraph down advises rising costs from contractors due to economy and effects of the pandemic will continue to be monitored. The city will consider adjustments in the future for projected budgeting in all of its programs accordingly. Just so you know, as always, Community Development Advisory Board will be consulted for any major changes in the consolidated plan or any future annual action plans when you're talking about moving more than 50% of what you voted on. I can't speak right now as to what I have big plans for, what's gonna happen, but I do think that this year, the 22-23 year is gonna be very telling. I think for all of us in our own homes, right? Let alone what's gonna be able to be used with all of these federal funds and any changes that need to be made. I feel that we need to be flexible to make the accommodations, to be able to utilize the funds to the best of how it's gonna fit those with low to moderate income. That's what these funds are for. So if any changes have to come about and it's more than 50%, you're definitely going to be consulted with first.
Do we have any idea how much we're gonna get yet?
For the 22-23 year, $338,275. There are some residual funds, a very small portion, a little over 5,000 from 2019. There's approximately 16,000 from 2020, and it's approximately 200,000 from the 21 year. Now, all of those funds are going to be rolled in together. You guys voted on not just pro rata for public service agencies, but also to be spread throughout the rest of these activities. So that's where they're at, and that's why I'm saying we have a little bit of residual funds. So we'll see how this goes this next year, and if we're able to move them around and use greater good for them, we will. We have to abide by, like I said, all those national objectives. Public service agencies still have a cap of 15%, right? So we've already allotted out to them what they're all going to get, and administration has a cap as well. That's, none of that's gonna change, so I'm kind of looking at hoping to expand our home repair in the future over the next couple of years, but don't want to stick my foot in my mouth before I have all of those plans together, because it is going to take a lot of research, and I'm hoping to expand that a little bit more. Maybe perhaps in the future, bring it to you to discuss amongst yourselves, perhaps the benefit of raising the bar on how much we're spending on homes.
I was just wondering, that program that Sister Vicky's working on now, that affordable renting, or I forget the name of that organization.
Leavenworth Attainable Housing.
Yeah. Now, would she be able to apply? I mean, would that does that fit into here at all?
I know. Unfortunately, right now at the moment, no.
No, that's what I thought.
Now, when ESG applications were going out, I did ask Sister Vicky to meet up with me, and she did. She came to the office because I wanted her to tell me a little bit more about it, because I wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to be that Leavenworth Attainable Housing wasn't going to be a candidate for application of ESG funds, because I really just didn't know enough in detail about it, and it's not. Right now at the moment, I do not see how they're a candidate for CDBG funds. Right. However, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to change. Criteria could change. There could be something more that comes to light. But we keep in close contact with her. Sister Vicky is everywhere and has her hands everywhere, and she's got that touch of love all over the city, and so she's certainly no stranger, and we will be keeping in contact with her. And I see her at the Leavenworth County Human Service Council meeting every month now too, and so I'll be keeping in contact with her and asking her how things are going.
Yeah.
At this moment, I don't have anything else that I want to go out my way to point out. The last few pages are Brownsfield Economic Development Initiative, in which that did not pertain to us, and Section 3, which did not pertain to us. But I did put a couple paragraphs of explaining what those are, so you would know why they didn't pertain to us.
Okay, Julia, I'm probably, I don't know, I'm gonna bring it up anyway. Transportation, for the last few board meetings, we've spoke about transportation in the community. Do you know where we stand on that for us,
I do. So I spoke with Keith at the Guidance Center because I needed to get some information in regards to that. So some of that information is in here. So there are 3 vans that are supposed to be delivered, they're hoping by late fall. Or Keith was hoping perhaps October maybe. So this is not CDBG funds or ESG funds that were used for that. So there was $72,000 from general funds from the city. I was not directly involved in all of that, so I would just, want to let you know I'm going to use caution in proceeding with that because I was not in this position and I was not involved with that. But I did confirm that those funds did come from the city's general fund to help with that. They also received a grant from KDOT, the Guidance Center did, in order to receive those vans. So they were waiting on microchips for the longest time. They're supposed to be in this fall, supposed to be offering $2 rides one way. So, and then I think Keith had advised also that there was going to be a cap. Like if you paid so much a month, then that was going to be okay. So to my understanding, it's in Leavenworth city limits. It's possible they could extend from there. They need to give this a go and see how this is going to turn out. Rides to grocery store, rides to the doctor's offices, the hospital, any of those things that are needed.
Okay.
I know the Council on Aging has new vans that they are using to provide that assistance as well, so.
Yeah, and Leavenworth Interfaith Community of Hope does offer some limited transportation as well.
Okay.
And I understand the scooters are being picked up.
The
That the
scooters,
what?
yes, the scooters.
The scooters are being picked up.
Yes, and I'm not, none of our funds are directly involved in any of that, and that was a pilot, yeah.
It was a way of transportation, and I'm a walker, a runner, and I see them all over from Price Chopper all the way out to,
I saw them at Buffalo Wild Wings.
yes, I was gonna say clear out the highway, and one was out, sitting out in Lansing, and I'm
Oh, my.
thinking, how do they find
20th
these just
Street.
strung all over the place? And I'm thinking, wow, it's a ride all right, but if you get out one way, how are you gonna get back?
Was it a successful pilot or?
I really couldn't comment. I wasn't directly involved in that. I just know that, that it's over. Penny Holler, our assistant city manager, could be somebody that could offer some more information.
Duly
Like-
noted.
I can tell you that she reported in a LCDC board meeting that it was a successful to a point. The issue they had was it was so hot during one time period that people didn't use them.
Right.
And I think that set them back, because when it first came out, she said they were just hot, like pancakes. People were riding them, and then it just got so hot, like temperatures in the hundreds and stuff, and people just didn't ride them, and they didn't get as much use out of them as they thought they would towards the end. So, but it started off to be great. But
They're everywhere.
Did anybody have any questions about the caper? It did have if I didn't make that clear in the beginning too, it did have a wrap-up of all of the CV funds that were given as well. So not only did we have a synopsis in the beginning of it of the 2017 to 21 funds, it also wrapped up all of the CV funds as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Moving to item 6 on the agenda, we move to vote to approve or disapprove the 2021-2022 CAPER to be submitted to the City Commission. You need a motion and a second motion to vote, yea or nay.
Before we do that,
Okay,
may I,
please.
just ask the question, is there individual breakdowns of each PSA? You have a lot of statistical data on race and all those things, so is there a specific portion that per se. Salvation Army gives you data on, Interfaith Hope, they give you data on.
Yes.
So, okay, and the reason why I asked is, someone might wanna know, how are we tracking like 2,000 people? How are we tracking those people?
No, that's a great question. So in the public service agency contracts, like very soon here, as soon as HUD releases the funds for the 22-23 year, all of those public service agencies that you guys voted on to be funding for this next year will have to sign a contract. Within that contract, they're advised that monthly, at a minimum quarterly, they have to provide statistical information that gives those answers. And so that's how we know them. So yeah, at like the click of my finger, you could call me and be like, how many of this race at this agency during this quarter was there? And yep, I can pop that open and tell you.
That was just wanted to know
Yeah.
the statistical data and how are we gathering it, because if we are expending the funds to the low economic families or need, how do we manage that and how do we know from actual data, not just something that we just throw out?
And on that sheet is not only race that they turn in with the statistical data, it's also advising the extreme low income, and moderate
I read
income.
that, yeah. I read
Yeah, is listed on there as well. Now, I don't know how many of them of moderate income are of which race.
Right.
That
No,
part I
I was
don't
looking at your numbers and the collected numbers across those agencies. It just seems pretty big for me.
Which one are you looking at?
Well, if you look at table 2 on page 6, and it says describe families assisted, right? And so you start at the top and work your way down. There's 9,000 total. And so how each one of these breakdowns are broken down, how do I know, American Indian or Alaskan Native White, how am I getting these numbers? Where is it coming from and all of those things?
Is there like an application or something that they're putting this information
No,
on?
and for instance, if the service is being offered to, I don't know, Salvation Army, now they send you that report, so that I have it. You gave me my answer, I just didn't see it here, and how are we figuring out these numbers? Is what I was-
Gotcha, yeah. They report them, we keep them in an Excel spreadsheet, and the information is also uploaded into IDIS, which directly answers to
Yeah,
HUD.
I saw that, yeah, okay, no,
But, okay, and on that, how do you know that's accurate? Because some people don't choose a nationality or whatever one way or another. They just choose not to.
So the only thing that the community development coordinator can go by is the information that public service agency provides.
Right.
And so when they provide that information, we take that as the most true and correct possible. But you're absolutely right. Some people don't want to answer it, and I'm not there, of course, I'm not there at those agencies directly dealing with citizens regarding that. But I have heard public service agencies advise sometimes people don't want to answer the questions. So these are at the most accurate as possible.
So is there a way to add like another section that says like other or,
Well,
I mean,
there
I see what you
is,
say, it says other
There is one.
multiracial, not Hispanic, but
yeah, the Hispanic and not Hispanic are two separate categories
And then
that are
there's-
listed down below.
And then there is another under that, an Indian after that one that says other.
other multiracial.
This was all the categories that were available to me. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I
No, I
calculated,
understand.
what was there. There wasn't any group left off. As a matter of fact, I had to extend and make the chart bigger to accommodate to the information that was being given.
thank
Do
you.
is there another category that
No, I was
you
just
wanna
curious.
have? Because listen, we can change the information that goes out to the public service agencies and ask them to add another group if we need to.
I understand their difficulties in
Yeah.
tracking all of those things as well. I'm not trying to add work. I just said if I didn't see the breakdown. So for me, if you tell me 100, I'm gonna ask you how many for this organization, how many for this organization,
gotcha.
how many for this organization, and that's just my frame of thought. It's not nothing to do-
Gotcha. No, okay. And you're more than welcome to that information. I could literally pull it up for you in moments.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
And it seems like when they fill out that application for funds, do they include, I know they tell us how many they're serving, but they don't divide it up into categories, do they? I don't remember it being on that application.
In regards to.
Race.
In regards to
Yeah.
races, like so much to
Right.
each race? No.
No, I mean, or when they say we serve 5,000, they don't divide it up into how many Hispanic, how many black, how many white, how?
No.
Okay, just the number. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. I didn't ever
It's
see it
designed
divided
for
up.
low, moderate income persons.
Right, that's what I thought.
Now, let me add, I will add this, few times I've spoke with people for the things that we provide for as low income for roofing or whatever, or home repairs or whatever, is a lot of them that I've spoke with personally. I don't want to fill out no application. I don't want them to know my income and, all this, so say, hey, take a chance. I mean, but yeah, a lot of them don't want, I mean, the ones and I spoke with many people and they say, no, I'd rather not do it. So, okay, all right, well, let the roof fall down. So, but no, I just thought I'd throw that in.
Right,
You know,
and you
okay.
can't, yeah.
Yeah, I know that before Mary retired, I had been working with her, because I still worked in the same department. Her and I were working together in finding ways to condense the application down as much as possible. They are condensed as much as they're going to be condensed. There's just no getting around it. We're at the point where it's the minimal information and it's all necessary. I can understand how it may feel overwhelming. I encourage all of you to take a look at those applications and see it really is not as much to fill out as it may seem. There's a lot to read so that people understand what the guidelines are and what to expect. But it really is quite minimal.
Yes.
Yeah, we've heard that before, that, it feels like the application is overwhelming. We do have Welcome Central listed on the front page as a place that people can go to help fill it out. I have spent one-on-one time with many people. I don't have a problem doing that at all, helping them out, filling that out and letting them know what they need to get collected, so. And unfortunately, HUD's going to require a lot of that, and so, and it is down to the minimum. There's just nothing left to cut out of it.
I'm not gonna give you anything free.
There you go, nothing free. All right, well, can we move
Yes.
on? Okay, moving
I'd
right
like to
along.
make a motion that we vote on the 2021 CAPER to be submitted to the city commission.
Any seconds?
I second.
All right, with the second motion, all in favor of aye by the signal of your,
Okay, you're voting to approve?
Yes.
Voting to approve, yes.
Wait, sorry, I second the motion to approve.
all right, all in favor of aye?
Aye.
All right.
All the ayes have it, it's approved. Oh,
Did you vote, Mary?
Can I abstain because I wasn't here and I'm
You can
not.
still vote.
no, you
I can still vote, okay, aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
no.
Gotcha.
We are going to hold you.
Yes,
And that will be taken to city commission on September 27th.
right.
Any public comments that I receive will be added in.
All right, next item on the agenda, election of board chair and vice chair.
Can I just add some information just so
Yes,
that you
please do.
know?
Please
Just to
do.
let you know. So whoever it is that you all want to nominate, they don't even have to physically be here. Just so you know. So there's that. So they don't have to physically be here. Somebody for chair and vice chair do not, they can do it more than 1 year in a row as well. And so when you go through this so who you're missing also right now is Mike Seifert and Charles Davis are not with us right now. they're not with us this evening, but, they're very much active board members and, usually here. So just to let you know, just wanted to remind you, you still have 2 more that are here, that it's okay for you to take them into consideration.
Okay.
And you will have to nominate and second a nomination and vote on every nomination.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, so the floor is open for chair.
I nominate we keep the chair the same chairperson. Who's the chairperson?
Do I have a second? That's Charles, yeah, that's Charles is the chair.
I respectfully second the nomination of Charles Davis to chair.
Okay, by the signal of aye, Charles will remain chair, if all ayes have it.
Aye.
All right, where you at, Charles? No, Charles. All right, vice chair,
So are you,
Charles is going, yeah,
you just voted in for Charles to remain in chair?
right, Charles will remain chair, yeah.
I would like to make a motion that we keep Mr. Ralph Taylor as the vice chair.
I respectfully second the motion.
I agree to.
I agree.
Aye, all in favor? Aye. The ayes have it, yeah.
Okay, well, that's all good.
All right,
Always a touchy subject.
we're good. On agenda 8, other matters and correspondence. Julie, do you have any?
I don't, some of the things that I want to discuss about, we kind of talked about during the discussion of the caper. As far as I just wanted to let you know that I do have some plans going on in my head with thoughts. I would like to see how this year goes. I definitely foresee asking for a substantial amendment to the 5-year consolidated plan. I don't want to get too froggy with it. There's no reason to fix things that are not broken, but the only reason why I'm saying I will probably likely be coming to you next year to make some changes simply is because of the economy. And I'm looking at possibly asking for you to move some funds for some more housing rehab projects. But that's premeditated. I'm just letting you know that's kind of what I'm thinking because I'm feeling like it's trending that way. You just never know what's going to happen here.
So just so I can make sure I understand, so there will not be an influx of monies giving to us because of the inflation, and so you gotta take what you have and make the adjustments off of what you have? Or is that what I mean?
No, what I'm saying is that, so you all voted.
Right.
So at your first meeting for the consolidated
Yes, ma'am.
plan.
Yes, ma'am.
And basically within that, the annual action plan for the
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
22-23 year.
Yes, ma'am.
Our citizen participation plan advises that if I were going to take more than 50% of allotted funds and move them and do something else with them other than what you voted on, then I need to come to you
understand, yeah.
and have you discuss it, let you weigh in, and you decide.
No, I understand now, based off of that explanation. I was thinking that because of the rise of everything, once we voted, then now we need more money altogether. And so who do we go ask to give us
no.
more money? So
It definitely
that was
has.
my thoughts.
It definitely has to do with because of the rise in costs and, yeah.
So for
For
me,
sure.
that means I need to go ask whoever is giving me the money. I need to ask you for more money because it rose. So
Well, they're not gonna give, HUD's not gonna give us
And so
more
that's
money.
what
We're an entitlement city, and so they give us what they have lined out.
So that's why I wanted to make sure I understood that we were moving our funds in which we have to move amongst what we already have it broken out into instead of going and ask someone for more. I got you. That makes sense.
Absolutely, yes. And believe me, if I ask you to do that, I will have more than an
Yes.
explanation for you to go with it so that, I can back up why I'm asking.
Hawaii.
No, everything,
Yeah, we know.
it makes sense. It makes sense. I
Now,
just wanted to make sure I understood.
on the same guidelines is that, once they allocate us a certain amount of money, do we have a timeline to spend all of it? Or can we carry it over till the next?
So any remaining funds that we don't use can carry over. They expire after 8 years.
Oh, okay.
But HUD also put out some guidelines advising that any city that had any 2018 funds were then taken back. Those expired for them.
Okay.
We are fine. We're not gonna lose any.
This is
There's
the
only,
contingent money you talked about that carried over previously.
yeah, and so for the 2019, there's a little over, I have it spelled out in here, there's like a little over 5,000 from the 2019. I will use that up during my first drawdown. That won't be a problem. We're trending fine that way.
Okay.
Anyone have any more questions?
I thought the caper was put together very well and clear.
Yes.
I liked it. It's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I
Doing an
definitely-
excellent job, Julie.
Thank you.
I figured
I
out
appreciate
this whole
that.
thing, it's like,
Yeah.
whoa,
I definitely appreciate it.
this is
Helped me out a
beautiful.
lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Said, what?
The right one was chosen to take Mary's place. All right, so with that in mind, we'll move right along to item 9, to adjourn. Need a motion and a second, a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move that we adjourn our meeting today.
I'll second that.
All in favor to adjourn? Aye.
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 The meeting is now adjourned.